fantastic.
映画に行きたい気分です。楽しみにしています。
In the Minions, we follow Bob, Stuart, and Kevin as they travel through time from the point of being single cells that just developed from DNA, trying to follow other single cells which had the power to absorb single cells of other types. And they get it in their head that they want to serve and be servants to a master who's the most villainous individual in the sea at that time. So they start following this, as time passes, they start following this amoeba that can swallow other amoebas, and they try to serve it. And the amoeba and the minions turn into fish, and they start following the fish, and whichever fish was able to eat the other fish, the minion fish would follow that, and then the fish becomes a sort of somewhat like a lizard, and they kind of change into lizards themselves, and they begin following this lizard. And when this lizard type of fish takes off and starts walking across land, and the minions leave the ocean for the first time and begin to follow this new land creature, and they themselves become land creatures, and then they continually down through time try to find the most badass individuals or group that they can, and they become their servants, and inevitably end up wiping out whoever they serve. Now, it gets to the point where they run out of badasses to be a servant to, so the entire minion group just go to the Arctic, crawl into a cave, and stay there until Kevin decides he's going to stand up for the group. He's going to leave the cave because they're just completely miserable, completely unhappy. They just have to follow someone. So Kevin decides to stand up in front of the group, take two of his buddies with him, and go find a new evil individual to follow. So another individual, minion, who likes to play guitar and be a rock star, which is Stuart, goes up on stage with Kevin thinking that this is going to be a rock show, and he ends up being recruited reluctantly. And Bob, who is I think he's the smallest minion and perhaps the dumbest, wants to be in on this hunt for the new boss, and he gets rejected several times, but eventually Kevin decides, alright, you're in. And the three of these intrepid little heroes leave the Arctic cave and run off to find a new leadership. While they're gone, the other minions are quite unhappy. Eventually they find a Sasquatch and his buddies, and they start following the Sasquatch and accidentally kill him, and then get chased out of the cave by the other Sasquatches and run off to find Kevin, Bob, and Stuart, who radioed back that they were in England. Kevin, Bob, and Stuart had actually gone to the United States after they left the cave and found a woman by the name of Scarlet, who was the ultimate of all evil, and they decided to follow her. Her plans are to steal the crown in England, and she takes Kevin, Bob, and Stuart to England to get them to steal the crown of Elizabeth, so that Scarlet can become the Queen of England, or Great Britain, and the Commonwealth. And is while in England, I believe, just before Bob loses his teddy bear, which he got as a gift, I believe, in the United States. Bob befriends a little gray rat, and so the minions have this, they're in a group, but they also have this little gray rat, which is Bob's best friend and pet. Eventually the other eventually the other minions catch up, but Bob, Stuart, and Kevin mess up the Scarlet's plans to become royalty, and they end up becoming royalty, and the way things work out in the end, Queen Elizabeth gets back her crown, her throne, and the minions run into a childlike, evil individual who beats Scarlet, and this turns out to be this child ends up to be Drool. So they follow him throughout the ending of the cartoon, and as the credits roll, you see the development of the minions' love and appreciation for Drool, and he gets used to having them around. Didn't want them around initially, but then he saw their use. If you stay and watch all the credits, you will actually see a second Minion mini movie short where Bob, Kevin, and Stuart finally gets to start his rock band and become a rock star and does the this end music. But you have to watch all the credits in order to see this final cartoon, and it is great. It's just well done. This whole movie is well done. It's well written. I was expecting it to be interesting for 15 minutes, but it wasn't. It was interesting through the entire hour and a half. If you like cartoons and animated cartoons, and you like the Minions from Despicable Me, you will like this very much. This is a great movie. Well thought out, well put together. But like I said, you gotta sit through the credits if you want to watch the ending.